Good morning, everybody. I'm Dave, and this is Alaskan Homesteading. Welcome back to the channel. I'm coming to you from a very brisk summer morning. It is 37 degrees here in south central Alaska, and we are headed out on another camping trip. We are going to be taking the ATV with us and going out and exploring some remote areas up near Fielding Lake and Gulkana Glacier and up in that part of the state. It's going to be quite a bit of a drive for us. I don't think I'll film very much of that, but we'll see you along the way, and hopefully we'll have some interesting adventures to share. The back of the truck is absolutely full. We are loaded for bear, both literally and figuratively, and the ATV is all packed up, ready to go. That ain't going anywhere. We decided to pull over and take a break, and we went into the Paxson Lake Campground, and the lake is absolutely gorgeous. The weather today is fantastic, and we've got really nice clear views of the mountains out there. The lake is really nice clear water, and just couldn't ask for better weather than what we're getting today. Good weather for a drive and beautiful scenery. Decided not to stop too much along the way, other than, we took a break for lunch down in Glen Allen, and that's about it. We're about an hour from the cabin up at Fielding Lake, and we're gonna go ahead and hit the road. We are taking another little break. We're just a few minutes away from Fielding Lake, but this is the Richardson Monument. Wilds Preston Richardson, Brigadier General, United States Army. That's what the highway here is named for. And then back here we have the Gulkana Glacier. And then way up past that there's another couple of glaciers, and over there behind that hill there's more glaciers. That's Gulkana here, and then Gulkana is back there. Canwell is up over the hill behind Gulkana, and we are going to be taking a little trip up there and doing some hiking and ATVing. Here we are at the Fielding Lake cabin. It's pretty small. It's about 12 by 16 feet. Got a little porch, and when you reserve it, they email you a code for the padlock on the door. And inside, a couple of pretty long bunks. I guess they're 16 feet. They're the whole length of the cabin. A little ladder to get up top, and a table, and a nice little wood stove. And there's a little shelf in the corner here for misc. People have left behind a few things. Looks like some coffee and maybe some hot chocolate. There's another little table and one chair. Very simple, Spartan accommodations. And in this corner, saw and a fireplace poker, a little snow shovel, an axe, and some firewood left behind from the previous guests. And there's a phone number you can call to reserve. Or really, you want to go online and go to the reservation website. We've got our cook fire going, and we're gonna make some hot dogs. Marshmallows. Ah, no!
Be more careful.
Dang it! Oh, it just like won't stop catching on fire. It's just too hot in there. Now we're just taking a little walk, checking out other parts of the campground, and enjoying the evening. It's nice and cool out, a little bit of clouds, very still. There are several other people here with drones. Some of them are zippy, fast, like first-person view, like almost racing drones. They're flying around pretty fast. Can't really complain because I flew mine too. I'm gonna walk around a little bit and see if we can find any blueberries here at the campground. I think I see some people out there picking. They certainly have the posture of blueberry harvesters. Oh yeah, here's some plants. Yep. There's some blueberries here. Oh, yeah. A whole bunch of them. Those are good. Really nice, strong blueberry flavor. There's a bunch of little ponds and stuff here right around the camp. I want to see if I can see some footprints in the mud here. It's like reading a newspaper coming down to the edge of ponds like this. There's some pellets down there. Not seeing anything really distinct as far as footprints, though. Oh, wow. Look at that. Just bursting with berries. Perfect timing. Need some natural dessert after my s'mores. These are amazing. There's so many on this bush. Yum. I guess I should share a few.
Come back to the hut.
Hold out your hand.
Oh, are there blues?
Ooh. This is our incredibly luxurious shower setup for when we go camping. We have the Green Elephant utility tent, which, you know, it's got a little screen top. We have a little board to stand on, shower head, and that's hooked up to this Zodi instant hot water system. Just runs off of propane. There's a little battery powered pump, and so we just fill a bucket with some water, and that pumps through and heats and makes nice hot water, and we can get a good shower. Feel nice and fresh for our adventures. All right, it is day 2, breakfast time. We're having some New England brown bread in a can and a hot dog and some eggs. Got our eggs, they're not cooking yet. But yeah, just having a simple little breakfast, and then we're gonna go get out and hike on the Gulkana Glacier, or maybe just to the Gulkana Glacier. Here's this morning's view outside.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's a nice view. I think we might be the first people up
Oh yeah.
in camp. It's quiet
We
here.
usually are. I mean, I woke up at 5 at stomp o'clock, like,
Yeah.
and then I had
Coffee. This little wood stove in this cabin puts out an incredible amount of heat, even with just like some kindling in one log. It's hotter in here than than necessary. Might not be quite as crazy in the winter, but yeah, plenty of heat. The road out here to get to the Gulkana Glacier trail is pretty terrible. Although we did pass a little Nissan Altima car that was parked out here pretty far, so you know, it's doable if you go slowly and you're careful. We went a little bit further, and it turns into kind of a rock garden here, so we decided to stop and preserve our tires and sanity, and we'll just walk the couple hundred extra yards. There's a bridge up ahead that we can't go across in any vehicle anyway, so no big deal. We'll just walk a tiny bit further. But this is a really neat area. We've got some beautiful hills here, some rocks to stumble over, snow. Yeah, it's chilly. It's only about 50 degrees Fahrenheit out here today, and there is lots of water flowing out there in the Gulkana Creek or Gulkana River. We'll get a little closer look at that in a bit. Now that we're done driving through all that and have parked and packed up, got our packs loaded up, we're gonna go and do the hike up to the Gulkana Glacier. This is the suspension bridge that you use to cross the Gulkana River. Just, I guess, sort of sketchy looking, but not too bad, I guess. It's, the wood doesn't look super old or anything. It's treated steel cables. The approach here is a little steep. The bridge is a little bouncy. So take it slow. The deck boards do wobble a bit. You know, these wobble as you step. So just take it easy, take it slow, and it'll be fine. If you walk one foot in front of the other, you won't wobble the boards as much. My partner doesn't really like heights, so giving her some room. Yeah, if you don't like heights, I mean, you're only, I don't know, 25 feet up, but the thing wobbles and sways and bounces. So if you've got a big group, I would definitely recommend breaking it up and just taking it one or two at a time. You know, I'm sure it's fine. These are really thick cables and everything looks, yeah, it's old, but I'm sure it's fine. A couple of these deck boards have been replaced, so, you know, somebody's been out here to maintain it in relatively recent history, just looking at the age of the wood and the hardware. It's that's brand new hardware. The label hasn't even come off of it yet. So this bridge has at least had some kind of maintenance on it and people looking at it. I'd say certainly this year. How recently, I couldn't say, but definitely this year. Well, what did you think of that suspension bridge?
It was fine. It was a little wobbly. No problems though.
That's good. Right after the suspension bridge, there's a little bit of a climb and a section full of thick willows. Just beware of moose and stuff through here. We did see some moose chew or antler rub on the bark, and you don't want to surprise a moose. They don't like it. The path gets a little tricky to follow, but it doesn't really matter a whole heaping amount. We found a spot where there's like a few little cairns, and then there's this metal pole sticking out of a rock like Excalibur, and my guess is this is kind of where the trail is. We're following a track from some other gentleman whose website we found, and I don't remember his name, but I'll try and just link to it somewhere. But he had posted a whole GPS track for this and a couple other places, so we're following that. The trail does become a little more evident as you go on. You'll see some cairns, and this is a well-worn path. As you start crossing this big open rocky area a little ways above the river, you'll begin crossing a series of gullies that come down from that ridge above. And some of them will have water, some won't. That depends on when you're there and what the weather's been like. We found a few trickles here and there. But you have a choice. You can either go way down below the gullies and walk kind of on the flat by the river, or you have to find your way down and up and down and up the gullies as you pass them. So, dealer's choice. You can go either way, but ultimately you're headed for that. So that's the direction, and it really doesn't matter exactly how you go. Well, we've made the choice to stop walking through the gullies and head down towards the creek, because this is getting a little bumpy and annoying for 50-plus-year-old knees. Younger folks might not be so bothered by it. I mean, it's not so bad. If we didn't carry so much camera gear, food, water, extra clothes, then we'd be a little lighter on our feet. There's always a trade-off: preparation versus, you know, effort versus moving faster. So you have to make your own decision. We decided to descend down and get onto the creek bed, or the river bed, whatever you want to call it, and walk down here. A little easier walking instead of up and down through all the gullies. It kind of flattens out here, and there's evidence of lots of other folks hiking through here, lots of boot prints in this little area, so it's fine for walking. Just kind of sandy and rocky and pebbly. And then over there, there's little stream channels, river channels. Sometimes it's hard to put the scale of things into perspective, especially on a little wide-angle camera like a GoPro. That glacier in front of us is about a mile away, and it's quite enormous. But you really wouldn't be able to tell that. The scale is just very skewed. There's a pretty cool looking ice fall over there, which when the sun came out for a few seconds, it really lit up nice and blue. It's very pretty. I'll try and capture that again if the sun comes out. So it's kind of neat. Somebody built a windbreak, and actually there's a few more right around here. I believe people have been camping in this spot. That's the only reason I would think of to build a windbreak, would be to shield your tent a little bit if you were staying out overnight. Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. This whole area is just dotted with little man-made windbreaks. Pretty cool spot to camp. The views can't be beat. Someone built practically a castle over here. Good Lord. This is enormous. Wow, somebody put a lot of effort into this. There's a nice fire ring in here, or at least a spot for a cook stove. There's nothing to burn out here, and you're not going to carry much firewood, but a good spot to put your stove out of the wind. And there is a little bit of clear water that must be from one of these little gullies that washes down off of the ridge and not from the glacier. Because again, that glacier water is very silty. As we're getting closer to the glacier, there's this really cool little gorge. And we saw a cairn on the opposite side, so we wanted to take a look and see if there was a way to cross right here. So far, I don't see anything that looks like a good candidate for where to cross, but we're going to keep looking. I don't see anything that I want to try and jump across here. Now, if you slip and stumble, you're going to have a bad time. I mean, the water's not really deep, but it's certainly very cold. And there's the glacier. Still, you know, 3/4 or half a mile away. And then looking down here, it looks like you could kind of get cliffed out on the right. I don't necessarily see a trail. Maybe up there. Now keep looking. Up this little gully on the side to get a better view and see if there's an alternate way to cross that creek, maybe further up. There's other tracks that we saw, GPS trails that people had posted. They crossed that creek further down over there somewhere, and you could see cairns on both sides. But for me anyway, that's not something I want to go trying to walk through. It's just the two of us out here, and yeah, we've got an inReach, but that help is hours away if anything goes wrong. This is pretty cool. We came up over this rise, and there's an ice tunnel down there. That's where the creek comes out. Well, the Gulkana River. That's awesome. Again, it's hard to put scale into perspective. Looking at that creek coming out, you know, that's got to be at least 20 feet wide. And then if we do the same thing, we've got 20 to maybe 30 feet of rock cover over that, rock and ice. I think that's mostly an ice tunnel. It's hard to tell. But I think we're gonna go ahead and try and cross over that. And then we can go down, cross over there, walk up that, and touch the glacier. This is...
I don't need to spend a lot of time on the glacier now. It's getting a little late.
Yeah.
I'm thinking 2 lunches today.
Yeah, that's fine. Sketchy walking back here. Seems like a really good idea for me to do it with a camera in my hand. This is, I guess, the quote-unquote ice bridge that people talk about in some of the trail descriptions. So you can see back there, I'm pretty sure that's ice covered by rock. I mean, this whole thing could be ice covered by rock for all I know. Well, I'm pretty sure that we are on the glacier at this point, at least on the edge of its lateral moraine. We're walking up. There's all this loose rock, and over there is clearly icy, silty stuff. And then out there, it's obviously ice. And I think we're gonna go right up here and sit down somewhere next to the ice and have lunch. We've reached the point where we're really walking on ice that's just full of rock. You know, this is all clear glacier ice, just full of rocks. It's a nice little melt stream. Some lunch. We are just taking a little cruise up the edge of the glacier here, kind of just hanging out on the rocky part. So it's all ice under there, but rightly or wrongly, I feel a little more secure walking on the rocks than just on the bare ice. And I don't really want to spend too much time walking around on the ice. We don't have any proper, glacier walking training or anything. So this could all be extremely ill-advised. And in fact, I don't advise it. I actively do not condone anybody doing exactly what we're doing. Just use your own judgment. Work within the limits of your own training and abilities.
Looks like there's like a little bridge up there, but...
Yeah, I think it just kind of tapers off. now that the sun's out, can get a much better view of the valley. Looks really, really gorgeous. The other thing that's sort of interesting slash spooky is there's a lot of little noises like rocks falling and stuff that you can't exactly place where it's coming from. We did hear one rock fall over on the side of the valley there earlier, but I couldn't see what was falling. But yeah, it's a glacier. It's an active place. Things are moving. We're about ready to pack up after we've had our lunch here. There's a couple of more people coming up the valley. We could see them from a mile away, literally. And it's sort of interesting. It's not very busy here. We ran into 2 people who were on their way out, and now we're going to run into 2 people on their way in. But, you know, it's Thursday, so. Now we are walking back down the glacier. Okay, we are falling back down the glacier. I just slid, and my boot found its way all the way through the gravel down to just total sheer ice. On the walk back, we're going to take a slightly different route and kind of hug the river a little more closely so that we can avoid going through a bunch of those gullies and save some energy and potential twisted ankles and stuff. It's a little bit flatter and smoother going this way, but also slightly longer. Maybe it's, I don't know, I couldn't even guess, half a mile longer maybe, but worth it in my opinion for just kind of an easier, flatter, smoother walk. And this is just the terrain we're following, just the riverbank. And other people have been here. You can see all the footprints. And here's a quick look back at the glacier before we start losing sight of it. We are almost back to the bridge. I think it might be, I don't know, half a mile or less from where we are, and this is definitely a much better choice, staying low and following this path that kind of stays along the riverbank. The track that we followed, that we had found on some guy's website, I mean, it was valid, it was good, but this is better. It's just a much easier walk and pretty much the same views. And we're back to the truck. That is it for our Gulkana Glacier hike. Thanks so much for joining us, and I hope that you enjoyed the hike. I hope you enjoyed seeing the scenery and learning a little bit about what the hike looks like and where you go and all that. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up if you liked this. Subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you next time.